All right, hello and welcome everyone to the EL Civics Network meeting for January 28th, 2026. Before we get too far, are you seeing my screen with the slides? Okay,
Yes.
great. All right, thank you, Portia. Okay. uh, Okay, so for our agenda today, we have CDE updates, civic participation in IELCE, citizenship preparation, other information, and then at the end we have a presentation from Ryan de la Vega about their experience with COAP 19.6. Okay, so CDE update. All right, so the latest WIOA 2 state network meeting was January 6th. And so you can watch the recording here. You can click on that link once I send the slides out. And remember, you need to enter this passcode here. And then if you want to see a list of the when the network meetings are, you can always click on this link here. The next meeting is February 3rd, 2026, so next week. Right? And you can register here at californiaadultedtraining.org. All right, so second update. So the just to remind you that there was a consolidation of EL Civics activities under Section 231 in Resource Code 3905. What this means is that Section 243 will focus strictly on IELCE with IET, so with the training component. It's not that much different than what we've been doing, but just to emphasize that the training is a very important piece of this. All right, the second one here is that as you go along, please make sure that you are doing the IELCE in the correct way. So what is workforce training versus what is workforce prep? So there is a link here for an IET at a glance guide to tell you what the criteria is between workforce training and workforce prep. And I know there have been some staff changes over at CDE. So if you have any questions regarding the above clarifications, please contact your CDE regional consultant. And if you're not sure who that is, you can reach out to them by email, adulteducation@cde.ca.gov, or by telephone. So their phone number is here. Okay, so moving on to civic participation in IELCE. All right, so the big IELCE report and plan for 243 funded agencies. The electronic IELCE report and plan submission system opens on March 1st, and we're doing a little bit of tweaking to the report itself, but I've been assured that it should open by March 1st. And then it is due at the end of March, so March 31st, 2026. And next week, we will have a webinar, How to Complete the 2025-26 IELCE Report and Plan. So that's February 4th, 2026 from 1 to 2 p.m. So if you would like to attend that, please register here at this link. The webinar will be recorded, so if you have some scheduling issues, the recording and the slides will be posted on the ELC webpage. All right, so we updated the EL Civics FAQ document, and so just a few things. Number 8, it says, can co-op assessments be done remotely? And the answer is yes, but we are in the process of updating this section. So currently the document doesn't link to a section on the the CASAS website, but it will be soon. Okay. And at the bottom there, that's a link to the actual FAQ document. Another update from the FAQ is number 11. Can English language learners whose CASAS test scores are above the advanced level earn EL Civics payment points? And so this one, they can. It says that they must have a pre and post test pair, but the student's score has no bearing on earning a payment point unless it designates ESL level 1, beginning ESL literacy. So that would be 183 or below on the reading steps, or 181 or below on the listening steps. So ESL level 1, beginning ESL literacy students cannot earn ELCivics payment points. Now, if their score changes during the year, during the school year, then yes, they can participate. Right. And the reason that the level here is in green is it was added and it's new since July 1st, 2025. So we just finished updating this document. So that's why it's in green. And the next one, we added a whole paragraph, this same question. So EL learners that get a pre-test score on reading or listening steps that is too high to achieve a pre or post-test gain can use reading goals that's designated for ABE, ASE learners to complete a pre-post test pair and ensure that they earn ELCivics payment points. To do this, however, you need to be careful. The student should also have enrollment in either ABE or ASE, so the high school diploma or high school equivalency, to ensure that they earn a payment point for a possible gain on the goals test. So again, it's in green because that is new. All right, just a little bit about co-op assessment security. So whether you're using paper testing materials, technology, or online tools for ELCivics assessments, the agency is responsible for ensuring that only proctored students can access and submit the assessment. And at the last ELCivics meeting, there was a question about, storing the assessments on Canvas. So Miranda Curie from OTAN has graciously offered, if you have any questions, please email her and she can answer your questions about Canvas and security of storing assessments on Canvas.
Stephanie, Miley has a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me get there. Where is the chat?
Miley, you can unmute and ask the question.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me? I wasn't sure. I tried talking.
Yes, we can hear you.
When you were talking about question number 11, so you're saying now that students will get ESL level, NRS level 6, even if they pre-test at level 6 and then post-test still within level 6, that there will be a payment point for our agency?
So the score itself doesn't have any bearing on whether they get the payment point. It's just that they have a pre and a post pair together. That's the important part of that. So the score doesn't have any bearing on that. Portia, do you have anything to add?
Well, that's for the co-op assessment. An ESL student that scores too high can't make a level gain unless they get enrolled into ABE-ASC tested with, and then if they make the gain on goals, they can get a level gain payment point. Is that your question, Miley?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of a little bit intertwined, but then in the slide, like 2 slides after question 11, you had said something about the students would have to be enrolled in a focus area or a enrollment in either ABE or ASE. But if they're an ESL student, they'd have to be.
So they also have to be enrolled in ESL. So if they're getting IELCE payment points, the only thing they need is a pre and post test in any NRS approved test. That's for ELCivics payment points. But if you hope that they'll get a gain on a CASAS test, then if they're taking the goals test, they need to also be enrolled in ABE. So they would need to be enrolled in both places.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
That's not a concern. Then they can just be enrolled in an IELCE course, 243 focus area, and then they'll get ELCivics payment points.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Any other questions right now? Okay, so let's go ahead and continue then. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so we already talked about Miranda. All right, so revisions to COAPs. We had a slight change to 1.1. We changed the total score from 47 to 45. This was an error and it does not affect anything else. The passing scores and everything else are still the same. All the wording and all the tasks are still the same. It's just that the total point was changed from 47 to 45. Yeah, somebody couldn't do their math. Me. Okay, next, we have an exciting new Civic Objective 77. So this one is to demonstrate the language and literacy skills necessary to effectively participate in workforce training in para-education. So this is a new one that was developed to help agencies who have para-educator training programs. Because previously there wasn't one. And the one in childcare was for like age 0 to 5. And that just wasn't appropriate for the students that these agencies are trying to help with the para-education training. So when you get the slides, you'll be able to go and see the COAP 77.1. I know there's a lot of tasks, but if you look at the levels, Task 1, everybody does. So employ communication strategies useful for working with students of various ages. So that's beginning high to advanced. And then task 2, 3, and 4 are writing tasks for the different levels. So task 2 is only for beginning high. Task 3 is only for intermediate low. And task 4 is only for intermediate high to advanced. So in essence, each level does only 2 tasks. Right. And we had a large example list of sample responses that would not fit on the EL Civics page. So there's a note in the details that says the list of sample responses COAP 77.1 content B is on the EL Civics page. And this is at the very bottom. So it's a PDF that you can click on and see all the other examples. I think in the details, I included like 1 or 2 sample responses, but we separated out for helping students in elementary school level for beginning high student. This is what a sample response would be. And then so it's separated out elementary, middle school, high school, and then again by level. So beginning high response for an elementary school student, a beginning intermediate low response for middle school, for example. So that list is on our webpage. Okay, and just to remind you that we do have our EL Civics Exchange. It's a repository of materials for EL Civics, and we do have 22 sets of materials. And these 2 new ones, 19.7, immigrants' rights, and then 72.2, safety in building and construction trades. I was wondering if anybody has accessed these 2 materials. We'd be interested to hear how you're doing with those. Is there anyone who wants to raise their hand or chime in about their experience with that you've downloaded or you're planning to use either of these 2? Let me check in the chat real quick. Okay. Well, I don't see anybody raising their hands or anything, so we'll go ahead and keep going. If you do happen to use either of them and you want to share, please let me know, and we can put in a time for you to talk about your experience at the next EL Civics network meeting. Okay. All right, so we have one IELCE related training. So CalPro Integrated Education Training Implementation Clinic for Spring 2026. So this is a IET implementation clinic, and so they join other agencies and teams from around the state in this innovative professional learning opportunity. And the application deadline is next week, February 5th by 5 p.m. p.m. So when I send out the slides, you can, if you want to apply, there's a link here, apply now, that takes you to their website and their form. And then if you have any questions, please contact CalPro. This is their email, calpro@air.org, or you can call them at this phone number here. Okay. All right, so citizenship preparation. So this is Portia. Portia, take it away.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. Not too much new. Next slide, Stephanie. The citizenship interview test is a one-on-one interview that predicts success on the USCIS interview. It isn't exactly identical to the USCIS interview. For example, we ask for some definitions of terms, which the USCIS is not supposed to do. But remember, we're trying to prepare students. We need to make sure that they understand the vocabulary. It doesn't cover 100% of what the students will be asked at the USCIS interview, but it is a predictor of success. It includes information from the N400 application for citizenship, and students pass with a score of 206 or above. It's not a pre-post test. Once they reach 206 or above, they receive, they can earn the payment point if they also have pre-post testing and correct enrollments. Next one. Next slide, Stephanie. You must be a certified CIT examiner in order to earn payment points for the CIT. You can order that on the CASAS website. There is no charge to WIOA to agencies. It can be a little confusing when you try to enroll because it looks like you're going to pay, but you're not. And there's a little tiny, very short video on the Citizenship YouTube channel, and it's linked here on this slide. And it shows you exactly how to go about registration. Next one, Stephanie. If you are a CIT examiner, you need to recertify annually. We send out information in January to the CIT examiners to let them know that it's time to recertify. Recertification ends on April 30th. It goes from January to April 30th. And CIT certification also ends on April 30th. I would like to encourage you, if you need to certify or recertify, to please not wait till the last minute, especially for certification, because there's a lot of process that happens once you finish the training. You still have to submit recorded interviews. And so, if there's a problem with any of that, it does take time. So please don't wait until the last minute. The other thing that I'd like to reiterate is if you're scoring citizenship interviews, whether you're doing certification, recertification, or actual scoring, you should always use the scoring documents. Don't rely on your memory because it's too technical for that. We need to make sure that people are scoring accurately and consistently and in a similar way, since this is for payment points. So always, always, always use your scoring documents. And the next one, Stephanie. The government history for citizenship test, the current test that we are using that is approved by the CDE is based on the USCIS 100 questions. Those questions have recently changed. Some of the information has changed. There are 120 questions. CASAS, I believe, has completed creating the items, but the items need to be vetted, field tested before we can re-release this test. So ongoing, you are welcome to continue to use 965, 966. Don't worry about its whether or not it's valid for payment points. It is valid for payment points. But if you're a citizenship teacher, you're going to want to make sure that you're teaching content from the 120 questions. And again, this is a pass, no pass test. At 206 or above, the student receives a passing score, and you can claim the payment point. Go ahead, next one. I just talked about that one, so let's go on to the next one. This civics test book is on the USCIS website. There's a link here. It is a free resource, and if you are teaching citizenship, this probably contains everything that you need to teach the class. And next one. I was hoping Jennifer would be here. She's our citizenship subject matter expert for both OTAN and CASAS. And she's got an OTAN Tech Talk coming up in February. It's on February 7th at 1 p.m. You can register at caladultedtraining.org. And there's a little paragraph here that describes the content of Jennifer's workshop. So we would invite you to attend that if it's of interest. And that's all I have for today. Thank you,
All right,
Stephanie.
thank you very much, Portia. All right, so on to other information. All right, so first starting with the Promising Practices Award. So this award recognizes agencies that have implemented strategies and practices to help students attain their goals. And so these practices must improve program accountability, develop skills students need in the workplace, promote collaboration and cooperation with other programs or agencies, promote effective use of technology, promote effective student transitions, or have potential application in other adult programs. So if you know of a promising practice at your agency or maybe at a neighboring agency, please consider nominating that agency or your agency for this award. And for more information, please email me, sfitzpatrick@casas.org. And there is a list of previous Promising Practices Award winners, and so gives you examples of what kinds of practices have won this award in the past. So that's the link to the Promising Practices there. And we have another award, Making a Difference Award. So this one recognizes EL Civics programs that empower students to make a difference in the community. So this one, the big difference here is that it identifies programs that document the effectiveness of their project and shows that the project goes beyond the classroom. So that's the key important difference here. So it goes beyond the classroom to affect the community in a positive manner. It's open to Civic Participation 231 funded and IELCE 243 funded programs. So please consider nominating your agency for this award. And again, the same email address for me. And then there's a different link here for Making a Difference Award. So you can see past examples of that. And for both the Promising Practice and the Making a Difference Award, once you click on that link, you should be, it will take you to the CASAS website where the nomination form is listed. So please consider nominating your agency for either the Promising Practice or the Making a Difference Award. Okay, so upcoming EL Civics meetings. So the next one is February 25th, and then we have no meeting in March because of the TESOL 2026 in Salt Lake City. So the one after that is April 1st, and April is a long month. So we have one at the very beginning and then one at the very end, April 29th. And then our last one for the year before Summer Institute is May 27th. So please let me know if you have something to share or present. And don't forget, please type your name and agency into the chat box. And then if you have not already, after the meeting, please register at the CaliforniaAdultEdTraining.org website. Okay, so we have a short presentation from Talley. So Talley, go ahead and unmute and tell us a little bit about this program.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on this. So my name is Talley Caruso. I'm a part of CTESOL, so I know actually a few of you on the phone. Very great to see some familiar faces here. The reason why I am presenting is because I am working on a nationally grant-funded health literacy project to help people with emergency preparedness. So this is dialing 911 and everything that goes along with kind of the decision-making of, is it actually supposed to be a 911 call, or could it be urgent care, or could it be telehealth, things like that. So I partnered with the University of North Texas Health Science Center, who are the kind of subject matter experts in providing the content. I have been brought on as the educational consultant to be able to make sure that it's kind of leveled and scaffolded to be able to help various levels beyond the original targeted audience, which was community health workers. So if you can go to the next slide here, we just have 2 slides. So like I said, what I'm working on right now is emergency response materials. It is funded by the National Institute of Health, and it is research-based. So these emergency response instructional materials, I have 2 sets of them. The native form of them, the one that they are kind of primarily housed in, is a RISE articulate module. So it is an online platform. It's absolutely free to access, and it's through the University of North Texas. So that is the one on the right-hand side for kind of like intermediate level and perhaps ASE low. I'm not super, I teach at the community college level. I'm not super knowledgeable about the specific labels, but I tried to kind of level it to the best of my knowledge. So that's kind of like the simple English version of the emergency response module using the online resource. Separately, I created paper-based flashcards, which you see on the left-hand side, some screenshots. Basically, these are in, I don't know if you can see here. They're in Canva. The images themselves are actually created through ChatGPT, through a lot of prompting. So they are very photorealistic. And the idea here is to be able to help train the same material, but kind of in a more visually stimulating kind of tactile way. This also goes through kind of the same material that you would see in the online version in terms of like what are the sequences for calling 911, what constitutes a small versus a catastrophic emergency, what do you do, and things like that. And if you can go to the next page. So basically what I'm looking for, I'm pretty sure that from a co-op standpoint that this seems most aligned to, I want to say 16.5. But I want to make sure that I am interpreting it correctly and seeing what else might need to kind of like should be included to be able to make it something that's aligned to certain standards and expectations. So I'm looking for who I might be able to contact to help with that. But I'm also looking for 2 to 3 adult ed instructors to pilot the materials and provide feedback. So between now and February 27th, you have the ability to kind of influence any type of tweaks that we're making to the actual materials so that we are able to serve as many community members as possible. So all the materials will be available for everyone to use for free between now through the end of eternity. And so anything that you give us as feedback, we'll make sure we'll try to revise the material before the final publication. So even if you can't schedule it in, say for any time in the next few weeks, that's still totally fine. Although we would not be able to use your feedback immediately, perhaps there's another window that we might be able to place it in the future.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. So thank you very much, Tally. So the links are live. So once you get the slides, you will be able to click on the 2 links here, the paper-based visual flashcards and then the online RISE module. So those links are there for you to check out. All right. So questions before we get to our presentation for today. Are there any questions? Have I missed any in the chat?
There's nothing in the chat, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you. All right, then moving right along. All right, so we're gonna have a presentation by Ryan De La Vega. So he's the ESL instructor and special projects manager at North Orange County Community College District. And so their experience with 19.6, the immigrant rights. So Ryan, do you want me to stop sharing so you can share?
Yes, please. Thank you, Stephanie.
And are you, I need to make you,
Yes, you do.
yes, there we go.
All right, let me try that again. All right, got it. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. It is late in the month, but it's still early in the year. Can you see my slideshow?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Let's see. Make it larger for you out there. All right, so as Stephanie said, thank you for the introduction. My name is Ryan De La Vega. I'm at North Orange County Community College District. Our NOCE is North Orange Continuing Education. I am the Special Projects Manager there for ELCE Civics. And we have enrolled for this spring a little over 3,600 students to give you an idea of the size of the school. Three main sites, Fullerton College, Cypress College, and Anaheim, which is sort of our NOCE headquarters. But we also have a good handful of off-site community involvement classes teaching ESL at high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, and community centers. And I brought this up to Stephanie, and she voluntold me to come speak today. But I'm happy to share our experience. I was interested, I was curious, and any other agencies having similar experiences with this COAP 19.6 for immigrant resources. So we use Microsoft Forms to conduct our needs assessment in the spring. So you can see a screenshot of it there, asking faculty to poll their students, and then we tally everything up and sent out. At the bottom there, you see a screenshot of our email sent out to everybody. All the votes are in, and this is how our fall 25, spring 26 school year is going to look. So it's actually 19.6 immigrant resources was our first topic of fall 2025. And students voted for it. So they asked for this topic. And then we found it to be very challenging for many reasons. So just as a little refresher for task one, beginning low through advance, students are looking for information on agencies. And we created, if you see on the right there, little flyers. The beginning flyer has less agencies, so it's not as much English to overwhelm them. But beginning low to beginning high, report on five items of information. For example, hours of operation, telephone number, services, cost of services for two agencies, and so on for intermediate low, intermediate high to advanced, have the most with 7 items for 4 agencies. And task one was not really an issue. It's pretty common EL Civics task, scavenger hunt, find the information in a flyer and report on it. It was task two that created more of a challenge, and that was a role play. So students were to play a student in need of assistance, legal help, if you may, and call an agency and ask questions. So we created a script, and students are not allowed to use the script on the assessment, but definitely in practice. And for intermediate to advanced students, they have to also be able to ask a clarification question. Excuse me, can you repeat that? Something to that nature. On the left side, you see some of the scenarios that we used: workplace unfairness and exploitation, discrimination in housing, warrantless home raid, and racial profiling traffic stop. We used the first one in my class. I just thought it would be easier if all the students were on the same page rather than everybody studying a different script. And it involved an employee being unfairly paid, but being threatened that they can't say anything about it because they'll be reported as an undocumented worker. We created a role play script and basically score sheet so that when testing, you can easily mark whether the student earned their 2 points, 1 point, or 0 points for their oral response. And you can see I know it's difficult to read, but we duplicated the CASAS rubric up there, what earns each of those values of points. Students were not allowed to use the script. They had to work off of their practice and memory, but they could still get points if their utterance is complete and correct. Now, the issue that we had was that manpower. I mean, you can imagine trying to do a role play with all those students. And So a lot of people did task one and task two separately on different days. Now, any of you have been in the classroom, what does that afford for? Attendance, right? So you may have someone who tested on task one but missed task two or vice versa. So we use a spreadsheet, data sheet to record scores. It looks a little like this spreadsheet you're looking at with the student information, how many points they earned in task one, task two, their total, if it was a pass or no pass, and then notes in the top far right column. And all those yellow cells that you see are students who missed one task or the other. And for the most part, if you missed one task or the other, that means we have a no pass. So the sheet you're looking at, we only have 9 passes and 6 no passes, and that's basically because we missed getting them for one task or the other. Now, most of the examples I'll speak to are beginning level, but this one is an intermediate and same problem. A lot of yellow in task two. Missing information, scoring low, not doing the task at all. And then this is one that surprised me. And this is, I think, from a beginning class as well. If you look at the notes on the right, I circled in red, student refused to test. So it's a difficult topic. I mentioned for many reasons, both challenging English, especially for beginners doing that role play, but also I think it was very challenging in the heat of the political climate that we're in. It was a very sensitive subject, and some people just didn't want to have anything to do with it, especially the role play. Refused to test. I don't know what reasons the student may have given their teacher. I put a couple of quotes at the bottom from teachers. One beginning low teacher, I think this topic was overwhelming for even my best students. And then at the very bottom, 2 paragraphs from a beginning high teacher. And she expressed that we had a student, share their story in tears. So my students' feedback is that the topic is sensitive but helpful. I have mixed reviews from my students. Some may not like it, and they asked me why we studied this topic. I explained that this topic helped the students know, learn, and be aware of the laws, resources, and current situations. We had some emotional moments when we discussed them. Overall, they found it very useful. They learned about the immigrant resources, what situations could happen, and how they could talk to the agencies to ask for help. So again, a little mixed feedback, but I did hear a lot from teachers about it being very challenging, very difficult for students to talk about. Even at my level, I teach level 6 advanced non-credit ESL at Cypress College. I had students tell me I'm not going to say that. So we had to change the script a little bit because they didn't want to say that they were undocumented, even though it was just a role play pretend. So any question, I'll take any questions at this point. If you need to contact me, my contact information is there, ryan.delavega@noce.edu. I'm hoping, Stephanie, if you have eyes on the chat, I could stop sharing and answer any questions and leave some time for Marin. Marin, I think from Mount Diablo has also some feedback on this topic.
Yes, I think she's here, but she sent me an email. She is sick today, so I don't know how much she is going to be able to talk today.
Okay.
Let's see. I think we have a one from Tally. Where did it go?
Yes.
Mm,
And
oh.
Tally, you can go
actually,
ahead and
Marin
unmute.
just said hello. So, Marin, did you want to say something?
I just didn't want to start coughing. That was my only hesitation. That we also, like Ryan, this teachers had a very similar experience. We did 19.9, which was role playing what to do when if in the emergency scenario where you're confronted with an ICE officer on the street, at your home, or at a workplace. And then we also did, and that was emergency plan, that was piece of cake, writing up an emergency plan, but the role play, that's the one-on-one interview and the sensitive subject. So the teachers really did have to do a lot of prep for that, like, grounding and working through a lot of emotions. And the students did say it was useful and helpful and also terrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I helped with the testing, and there were many students who started crying when I was testing them, and we worked through it. And they opened up to me, and I said, this is not for sharing personal information. I don't want to know, but they just wanted to tell me anyways.
Yeah.
They were extremely thankful, and I think a big takeaway for me is that they felt listened to, and we were very actively addressing a concern was heavy on their hearts, like openly talking about it. It was such a relief for a lot of them to feel like acknowledged, like we care for you. And then 19.1 was about preparing for a consultation with an immigration lawyer and filling out that form ahead of time with all the pertinent information, knowing what to bring to your appointment so that you wouldn't waste that free 30-minute consultation. And then also it was a one-on-one role play. And then they had to bring all their props and the assessor was the immigration lawyer and asked the questions, and they had to bring up their props, and that was actually a little bit more fun and easy to do. But yeah, it was still a little bit emotional, but a lot of students were like, I don't need this. I have all my documents in order. And well, this is for meeting with any type of a lawyer. You always have to be prepared and complete the form and all of this. So there was a little bit of like generalization, like you could use this for any scenario. This is emergency situation, knowing your rights with police officers. This is for preparing for any meeting with a lawyer. So but they were astounded. They really didn't know, okay, Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments. We really talked a lot about that, and that was extremely empowering. So overall, that is a very similar experience, I think, with Ryan. And then the makeups were tricky, of course, the oral one-on-ones. And they did ask, like, do you have a recommendation for an immigration lawyer? That was always, yeah, who can I call? Don't know. So that's perfect. They can do 19.6.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And to your point about generalization, um, yeah, we not only told them, it can apply to other situations, but also friends, neighbors, family that you can maybe help and educate in these situations.
All right, so Brian, we do have a question from Sigrid. It says, "Thanks, Ryan. Do you test your students in the classroom?"
Yes, and I think I messaged back. We do test in the classroom, and we do have online classes who test online. Of course, like mentioned before, the issue of manpower. When you're assessing a one-on-one role play, it takes a lot of time, so it was done over a couple of days. Um, I had an IA who did the interview and recorded it for me, and I scored it. So our IAs did not do any scoring, but they would help with the role play in other ways. Um, as far as online classes, the teacher would take the student in a breakout room, and the IA would facilitate what's going on with the larger group.
So Ryan, there's a follow-up question about doing it in the classroom. Do you mean she's worried that everybody could hear? Could you talk about that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so logistically wise, it wasn't done in the classroom like, okay, your turn, go. Um, we had another room across the hall that was vacant, and students would go individually into that room where they would do the role play and then return to the main room. So they weren't put on the spot.
Then Tally, you had your hand up about using character cards. Would you say talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I just dropped a link in the chat. Maren and I were working with Jennifer Gallardi and also Mark Santamaria, who is an immigration lawyer and ESL teacher. I'm part of the Refugee Concerns interest group. I'm one of the coordinators there at TESOL. So we had done several coffee chats and different webinars regarding this set of COAPs. And so one of the things that we did was provide some resources that were created, I think, in conjunction between Marin and Jennifer, and to be able to provide some anonymity and provide some distance for students, given the option to use these character cards, which basically are like, hey, you're Ibrahim, or you're Anna, or you're Fatima, right? Like randomly kind of hand them out with some information. So this Google Doc basically just has like a bullet point version for beginning high, and then one for like advanced that has more of a narrative format. In case people didn't really identify or want to think about this while they're in the classroom, it would be a little bit more distancing to say, like, we're just practicing answering questions as if you were this character. So it's an option. I myself do not teach this, so this is something where I'd love to get feedback, or if there's something else that like has worked, I'd love to know, because then we can share it also with our refugee concerns interest group.
And I know Marin, as part of her materials, she does have different versions of that, not quite labeled as character cards, but scenarios of like I think up to like 8 to 10 different scenario of people, like their situation, like when they came, like their visa status, if they're married, do they have relatives in the US, that kind of thing. So it went through. I think a similar type of idea.
Actually, so Stephanie, that was all from Tally.
No.
Tally made, and then we it was great because then we had Stuart Seaborn, who's also another lawyer who helped us with this with the disabilities rights, and we could modify a little bit where we had in a case of extreme hardship, and this is a single mom taking care of her child who has a disability, and if she were to be deported, then there would be extreme hardship. So we were able to really kind of incorporate that as well. So students learned about that in these character cards. So it was I think it was very useful. Thank you, Tally.
Thanks, Marin.
All right, Ryan, we have one more question. It's from Paul. It says, how did your teachers feel implementing the instruction? Were they wary of the topic?
Absolutely. And Paul, I think you knew the answer before you asked it, but yes, they were absolutely a little wary about addressing that topic and how to present it. And things were very hot, especially last year at this time. I mean, they're hot now. We didn't expect it to go to these measures. Um, we were educating students. We had workshops. We had the red cards, and trying to just arm them to feel more comfortable coming to school, even though ICE were coming onto campuses and they were coming into their workplaces at car washes. So we did all we could, and we tried to present it that way to the teachers as well. It's like, look, let's prepare our students for this.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're
And
welcome.
Maren wrote in the chat that yes, the teachers were wary, also because it was a lot of pre-teach amendments, rights, etc., plus the emotional coaching involved. Very brave teachers who taught it, and kudos to them. Worth it though. Yes, it helped to have the scenarios about fictional characters. It was never using personal
Mhm.
information, to Tally's point, and they emphasized that it was a general practice for emergencies, like any emergency. So. Good point, Lauren.
Yeah, we all had fictional characters as well. We didn't ask anyone personal information. They had a script.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as they should. So,
Yes.
all right. Alyssa says, was there any consideration of teachers swapping students to assess, or logistically, was it just easier for teachers to assess their own students?
Yeah, I put a brief little comment in there to Elisa, um, that in some of our sites, yes, where it affords itself to neighbors. Oh, we have a neighboring class, but not all
Mhm.
the sites in ESL classes, especially off-site, are like that. So it's just you. But a lot of teachers were really good about, just MacGyvering how is the most efficient way to do this with my students, knowing their own population, right? So it all worked out. There was a little, apprehension about doing the role play because of the amount of work and also because of the sensitive nature of the subject. But like I said, people took multiple days to catch as many students as they could, and that my sharing that data was just like still few fall through the cracks. You know, you can't catch everybody all the time, but we did the best we could with that one.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions, comments for Ryan? Um, okay. Let me go back to.
Thank you all very
Okay.
much.
Thank you, Ryan. So, thank you everyone for attending. So, all of our email addresses are there, including the email for general inquiries. So, elcivics@casas.org. And we will catch you next time at our next meeting. So, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If people want to stay and unmute or ask a question that's not on the recording, that's fine. We'll stay for a few more minutes. But for the rest of you, thank you for attending, and we'll see you next time.